Right, welcome back. Now, it's been less than 6 months since the appointment of Gauteng MEC for Education Panyaza Lesufi. In this time, his plans to transform the province's education system have created a stir and got a lot of people talking. Recently, he listed his plans to execute his 32.8 billion rand budget. He joins us now in the studio to tell us more. It's good to have you. Welcome to the program.
So nice to be here.
How is it going? We haven't spoken to you since the appointment.
Yeah. No, I'm enjoying it. It's something that needs to be done. We need to move with speed. Education is the basis for all of us to develop both at individual level and as a country. So it's something that we need to do it and do it faster.
Yeah, well, since your introduction, you've certainly got a lot of people talking. Some are agreeing, some are disagreeing. But there's no doubt that you have got people talking, and that's what's important.
It is.
In your opinion, what do you feel, what do you think about the state of education here in the province?
One is the management of time, and that is why I feel very strong that we need to part with the old and start with the new, especially when it comes into ICT. I don't understand why we still have a chalkboard and a chalk in an era where we are living in the world of ICT, where developing countries are galloping faster to utilize ICT as part of the teaching and learning tools. In our country, we spend more time where teachers have to mark, where teachers have to write on the chalkboard, where teachers have to fill papers and other related matters, whereas we can have a paperless classroom with a strong ICT foundation that can mitigate against the limitation of time and ensure that our schooling environment is indeed a better environment. I'm a proponent of that tool. But secondly, I also feel that we need to have the basics right. And the basics means that every learner must have an access, for example, for library services, laboratories, sporting facilities, and the best teacher. Because if you compare studies about the state of education in our country, it's clear that the education of the poor is compromised big time. And that's where the numbers are. So if you can't break the backbone of ensuring that poor education within the poor families or poor communities is appropriately attended, we might find ourselves in deep trouble. We can't come out of the quagmire that we find ourselves in. So you need creative ideas and creative minds to say, how best can we take ourselves out of the situation that we're in? And one of the mechanisms that we've put on the table is to say, can't we have the best teachers teaching all our learners? Can't we have resources being shared by 2 schools, for example? Can't we have a system where it's not where you are born that determines your destiny in life, but it's the access of quality education that determines who you are in life? And
that's where I know that you feel very, very strongly,
very passionate,
particularly about integrating township schools and urban schools. So how do we do this?
It's not integration in a manner that where learners leave one area and be passed to another area. To me, it's a 3-phased approach. The first phase is for us to have one school governing body managing the 2 schools, which simply means that we've got one vision, one leadership, and we've got resources that can be utilized by the 2 institutions. If we get that right, then we can kick in the second phase, which is mainly to say, let the teachers be the one that move around the 2 schools and provide the necessary teaching abilities. At this present moment, we've got the best teachers teaching few learners, and those teachers that are struggling teaching more learners. So if you share in terms of mentoring, in terms of expertise, in terms of talent of educators, we'll be in a position to have the best teachers teaching majority of learners and therefore having access to it. Thirdly, to be the best must recruit the best. I really believe that our institution, unfortunately, was polarized, where people were, in most instances, were appointed not on the basis of their capability, talent, skill, and qualification, but they were appointed on the basis that they're connected to somebody or know somebody. We have to break that backbone, because if you can't be the best. So for you to be the best, must have the best people. School stands and falls on principals. So if you don't have the best principal leading the school, you can't have the school functioning, and you can't have the best in terms of results of learners and both of educators. And it's within that context that we've got the model that we are putting on the table to say, let's discuss it, let's find a way. Other people might have a different view. I'm open-minded. I said that I'm going to consult until the last drop of my sweat. I'm not going to bulldoze it. I really believe that it's something that if you take emotions out, we can be in a position to find discussions and find each other.
Okay, so motivating teachers, getting the best teachers in for the job, that's a big thing. Another very big thing that you mentioned, which I'm sure teachers welcomed with open arms, was saying not to tax teachers.
I
Is
really
this something
believe,
you're pushing through?
Yes. We are losing almost 1,400 educators per year as an institution, and we are losing the best because people who recruit teachers are recruiting the best. But also the economic pressures that we find ourselves in, majority of teachers are resigning so that they can cash their pension payout and come back as temporary educators, you know, and that system creates problems. But as a country, we said education is our number one priority. So if education is the number one priority, the implementers of that priority must be appropriately rewarded and given the necessary support. And that's my argument. And if we can't close that revolving door where majority of teachers are resigning almost on a daily basis, then the priorities that we're putting on the table to say we want the best education for our children, it might be a pipe dream because majority of good teachers are leaving the system, and we all know.
Yeah.
So I'm of the view, therefore, if we can find a mechanism to say, if you are a teacher, we lock you for 5 years. Within that particular 5 years, we believe your salary must not be taxed. Even if it's taxed, at least there must be a 50% or 75% incentives. I feel very, very strong because it means that we can trap the educators. They'll remain within the system for the next 5 years. And therefore, our priorities on maths and science and other subjects can be appropriately implemented because we have a permanent and consistent teacher force that can implement those particular visions. But at this present moment, we are dealing with resignation more than dealing with recruitment.
Absolutely.
And it's something that we can't. And we say, check where we are compared to other countries. And those countries that we are compared with, South Korea, I've just come back from South Korea. The best people that are employed by that government are educators because they're appropriately taken care of.
Yeah.
And we have to.
Yeah.
And the sooner we do that, the better.
Absolutely. And the more motivated the teachers are, the better job they will do. And that, I think, goes for anybody. I mean, if you feel you're being rewarded, you'll give a lot more.
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about, but I know I have to wrap this interview. I'm looking at the time. I want to talk about sanitation, though, because sanitation in schools is a massive issue, and it's a frightening issue that we even have to talk about it in this day and age. But you've given until the end of this month as a deadline.
It's a non-negotiable thing. It's non-negotiable.
What do you want to see done?
To me, sanitation is dignity. You miss that point, then you can't have a functional school. If you go to any organization, it's how they treat their sanitation place that determines whether there's leadership in that institution. And that is why I've given strict instruction, no extension whatsoever, no limitation of resource. I'm prepared to go and account to whoever that wants me to account why I've overspent on sanitation, but I must have each and every toilet in each and every of our schools functional, non-negotiable.
Yeah.
If you don't get that right, you'll never get anything right.
I like you.
Oh, thank you so much.
I want to shake your hand.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Because I just really do. You're making me feel optimistic that there is going to be a change.
We have to.
And if we can make a change here in Gauteng, it's got to spread.
Remember,
and I think that, I like what you're saying.
Education is the only tool that you have to break the shackles of poverty.
Yeah.
If you can't use education to break poverty, any other thing will never work.
Panyaza Lesufi, ladies and gentlemen, the Gauteng Education MEC, making some huge, huge changes when it comes to education here in the province. And let's see if it works, because something needs to be done desperately. And I think this possibly is the man for the job. All right, you're going to come back.
Definitely.
Good. All right, let's take a break.